me something, tell me something. Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts, yeah. 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend zone. Differently, whatever it is, it just feels so real. And your eyes keep on talking in the silence, and all the blood to my cheeks are rushing now, yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping you are getting closer. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts, yeah. And that I'm sick of this friend zone. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend zone.
It's my time now. Lights out when you see us talking moves. You don't know that's the topic. And if you talking juice, well then you know I got it. Then you know I got it. Nobody got it like me. They can try, but can do it like Vinny. Yeah, no permission. I got it.
Chasing love in an empty bar. Pour a drink till I make it past. The midnight hour seems to come and go, but I know. Walk on up with a drink in hand, sipping mixes cause you can. And all the lights begin to switch off. You're chasing the light, holding on for life, feeling the high, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, holding on for holding on for life, feeding the high, chasing the night, chasing the night. Hotel rooms and city squares, champagne bottles, drum and snare. The sights and cities seem to fall away when you stay. Locked in love for a night or two, losing sleep just to get a few. Day to day you wanna stay out, you're chasing the light, holding on for life, feeling the high, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, holding on for feeling the high, chasing the night, holding on for life, feeling the high, chasing the night, chasing the night.
You call my bluff for the last time. This ain't a song, it's a battle cry. No life. I see the clue between the strobe lights. I'm haunted, black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Used to want it bad, used to want it bad, but I can't taste it. I can't help you now, okay? Follow me around, okay? Black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Follow me around, okay? Black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my plate, now I can't think. I said woke up, take a X, and now I'm feeling this is it. Want the money, want the rest. I do purse, not no cess. They say, Darnish, why you sad? I said, I just need to think. Red tape, got too close, I hate the city.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that slight delay there, but we are back. Officially hopping in game here. I know you guys missed me for that 20 or 30 minutes we were offline there. Extra Salt now taking on Triumph. The GGPR squad wasn't able to take it to a third map. Let's see what Triumph can do against ES. ESEA and Marky opening up, as ES often does, with some nice early headshots there defensively. CX and Rizu getting picked early. Let's see how Triumph responds here. Triumph still letting a bit more time off the clock here, but Marky good for another big USP headshot there at middle. That's hate down. Triumph with only B-Wills and George remaining here. Not a whole lot of options here for B-Wills and George. Looks like they're going to creep towards the A site from Hall. Sonic with an opportunity to get at least one here at Balk. Smoke down, flash toss by by George, but it's going to be Sonic and Marky able to finish things off in favor of ES. That'll be Extra Salt securing pistol here on map 1. Triumph deciding to go for 5 deagles here. It's not a full force though. Essentially a half buy with a bit of cash to carry over to next round. CX looking for that 1 deag down. Banana not quite finding what he's looking for. Does do a bit of damage there onto Sonic, but no kills being registered yet by either team despite that heavy contact at Banana. Still no contact being made. Triumph making their way up mid, able to take out OC with that deagle of hate. Rizu's deagle is good for the trade onto Fang. Fang did get 2 from Quad though. Brings us to a 3-on-3 scenario. Marky still up on the back of balcony railing here. And Triumph does not have that information. Marky might be the deciding factor here. Marky good for 1, falls back into pit after that initial headshot onto B-Wills. 2-on-2 scenario. Triumph still with 30 seconds to get the bomb down. JT already making his way around Quad, taking a little bit of damage from Rizu, but ultimately Rizu taking quite a bit more damage from that interaction. CX making the peak from boosted big pit, able to take out both Sonic and JT. Nice little hop up from CX there. Triumph able to tie things up at 1 apiece here on Inferno. George on the peak from mid. OC down top mid. Extra Salt. They are on a force here. Still with 3 deagles and a P250 in the hands of Sonic. Contact about to be made here by Sonic, pushing through the smoke and top Banana, but CX right there to return fire. Sonic down, 2-man advantage for Triumph. This is certainly Triumph's round to lose. They do have 5 rifles to work with here. Triumph making their way towards lane. CX gonna flash big pit. There's no ES players in pit. That's a huge plus for Triumph here. And Extra Salt already had decided significantly before that they were gonna save, but regardless, they still could have been lurking closer to A on that, but the safer move certainly to fall back to B early. Fang still lurking near library, was looking for some sort of post-plant kill there, but not going to get the opportunity. He's going to fall back to safety near B as well. Bomb will officially detonate, and that'll be a second round going the way of Triumph. Extra Salt, again, not left with much cash to work with here. They did save those 3 Deagles, thankfully, but Sonic and OC gonna have to full save and use those USPs here. Extra Salt. Stacking 4 at B here. Triumph certainly does not have that info yet. Yes, not making any noise or peak so far from the B side. Triumph still with 3 players lurking towards B. CX trying to make something happen there, peeking into the side, but it's going to be B-Wills with a nice smoke shot there by Coffin. JT down. CX good for 1 as well. Marky able to trade out onto CX there by Cross. Still a 1-man advantage for Triumph, but Extra Salt has a pretty decent shot at this one. Still with 2 Deagles to use. Sonic, of course, only with that USP. Fang moving up towards A stairs. A nice little headshot there onto Rizu. Brings us to a 3-on-3. Less than 40 seconds on the clock here. Triumph gonna try to get the plant over at the A site. There's no turning back now. Marky looking to get a pick from Library. Lands a headshot onto B-Wills. Marky looking for more despite getting tagged up there. Hate able to get a big pick there from near Pit. George getting a pick from Pit as well. That's going to leave only Sonic remaining here for Extra Shot. He hears the bomb being planted in the side, but George making the peek from Big Pit. Sonic down immediately after the peek, and Triumph increasing their lead to 2 rounds here on map 1. Triumph spreading out a bit here on their default. No major commits being made towards either site yet. George leading the way up Banana for Triumph. Triumph continuing to let some time off the clock here. They're still grouped up at Banana. They've got a lurker back towards alt mid, but George leading the way into the B side near entry stairs. Does take out Sonic. Fang at cross, though, responding with that silenced M4. Able to pick up 2, 1 through the smoke there. 1-man advantage for Extra Salt. Triumph still making their way onto the site, though. CX gonna get that plant down without any further contest. CX with only 16 HP remaining after that initial skirmish, though. So this is going to be a bit of a difficult hold here for Triumph as they look to defend the C4. But CX with a nice peek from backside. Marky down as he makes his way towards Cross. Extra Salt still in a balanced situation. 3-on-3. JT swinging things in ES's favor. Rizu down at barrels. B-Wills and CX both at dark corner. This could prove tragic for Triumph, but no, it's B-Wills trading out. Good for a kill +1 as Fang and JT both fall there. in the side. OC does finish off B-Wills at the end of the round, but the C4 will officially detonate. That'll be a 4th round going the way of Triumph. Extra Salt on a half buy here for Desert Eagles. P250 in the hands of Sonic. OC eating an HE early there. Nice toss from Triumph down Banana. CX able to take out Fang up mid as well. B-Will still keeping an eye on Banana there. Able to get one. Rizu making his way out of balcony. Marky down on the A side. And this round is all Triumph so far. George able to get another there. Banana was through the smoke grenade onto OC. And CX still with that Mac 10 in hand. Going to finish off Sonic at Arch. And that's going to be Triumph increasing their lead to 4 rounds. Now leading 5-1 here on map 1. Extra Salt. Certainly looking to firmly get back into this one. They are going to be on a full buy this round. 4 silenced and 4's an AWP here on the CT side. I will note that Sonic and OC both going into this round with no head armor. CX narrowly dodging that HE nade there at alt. Triumph looking to take control of both A halls and mid. Utility coming out here on behalf of Triumph. It looks like it's going to be a full A command already making their way out of balcony, but George, he was the first out and he had the bomb. Bomb's already down in pit. Marky, even though he was blind, did get a nice frag there onto George holding his ground. CX on the wraparound inside though, able to find 2 with the Mag 10. Turns towards Library to toss the Molotov. Not able to get any visuals in that direction though. Rizu able to get the trade at lane after Sonic got 1 off the rotation there. Bomb will be planted, and once again, this round is looking like it's all Triumph. JT likely, yep, looks like he will be falling back to save that silenced M4. And Triumph looking pretty sharp here so far on Inferno. Extra Salt again left in a bit of an awkward situation here. Not able to buy up rifles. Going to be settling for 3 Deagles, a CZ, and JT will actually afford a silenced M4. Let's see if JT can maybe go big here on the early picks. Maybe get another rifle here in the hands of one of his teammates. JT on the peak down. Banana from half wall does hit the headshot onto CX by Firewood, but traded out by George, who was right up on the other side of half wall. Triumph deciding not to commit to B, though. Looks like they still might hit B. They're just slowing down a bit. They do get visuals on Sonic at cross there, but Sonic has rotated back through construction. Sonic being sneaky, making his way towards Coffin. George leading Triumph into the site though. Sonic peeking from Coffin, good for the headshot onto Hate. George with only 1 HP as well after that peek. B-Wills does finish off Sonic there at construction, but OC somehow taking out Rizu at Banana with the C's that he surely should have been taken out by that AK-47, and now it's only B-Wills remaining in the site. Originally a 1v3, and he's gonna clutch it after taking out both Marky and OC there, whipping on over to OC, who was coming up Banana. And what looks like it could have been a second round for Extra Salt is again gonna go the way of Triumph, who are looking fairly impressive so far here on map 1, now leading 7-1. Marky on the early pick does take out Rizu. CX and B-Wills good for a couple trades there. Things have gone quiet as Triumph is still at the edge of B here. Flashing into Cross, and Triumph gonna run into no opposition here at the B side. Can Extra Salt retake with 3 from Banana? If Triumph plays this from proper positioning, which it looks like they are, they're playing this pretty safe. This is Triumph's round to lose, I feel like. George making his way to backside, does take more damage than he thought from both that spam and the Molotov, but B-Wills peeking out from Cross, taking care of Sonic. That's going to leave only Fang remaining here. Fang already making his way into the site, though. Nice nade backside. George down. Not a lot of time remaining. Can't imagine Fang's going to be able to defuse this. Kate still up at construction. Kate makes the peek just for good measure. Fang does take him out with an M4 headshot, though, but Triumph again with a nice plant in W there. That'll be an 8th round going the way of Triumph. And it looks like a timeout has been taken by Extra Salt. So I don't know if Extra Salt's a bit exhausted here from that last series, or they might just be off to a slow start here. They just came off Inferno. Kind of weird going back-to-back matches on the same map. Back-to-back maps, I should say, on the same map. Fang on the early peek there at mid with the scout. Narrowly missing. And this is indeed once again a half buy from ES. George, the initial pick there at Banana. Rizu backing him up good for a second. Marky about to peek into A. Halls does finish off Rizu there. Fang had already done a significant amount of damage. And CX, being a madman, already rushing up through Parch. Gonna run into OC there and spawn. OC's probably thinking, what is going on here? JT knows he's got a man behind him, but he's still trying to deal with B-Wills at Banana. B-Will's going to finish off JT there at the B side, and that's going to leave only Marky remaining. Deagle and a scout in hand. Can he potentially get an exit here? Marky trying to get at least one at mid. B-Will's still peeking him. B-Will's giving him a chance. But ultimately, not a whole lot of places for Marky to go here. Does get the one dig at Boiler, looking for another, but no, they're gonna knife him. George flying up mid to the left-hand side, and I have to say, this is a very awkward showing from Extra Salt so far. I know that might be a bit of an odd way to phrase it, but I haven't seen Extra Salt give up this many rounds, especially on Inferno, at least this early in the match recently. Marky does make the initial pick from mid. JT holding down things from Sandbag at top banana. Both Sonic and JT there at the top of banana looking for more, but ultimately forced to fall back there. George was able to take out JT in the midst of all that chaos. Sonic still patiently holding the B site from construction with that AWP. Does take out one. It's the only George left here for Triumph. George rotating back through mid, able to finish off Marky there, who was already tagged up from Rizu's damage. George might be able to get the plant down. He's going to need to kill Fang there, not able to do so, and that'll be a second round going the way of Extra Salt. Still down by 7 here on map 1. JT getting aggressive down banana, but that was a rare non-peek at banana from Triumph. Triumph actually already has all 5 players grouping up at A halls and mid. Rizu and Hate getting ready to pop out Boiler here. B-Will's leading the rest of the boys up mid. Triumph likely going to try to take lane here. Marky potentially going to be the deciding factor as he's still in Big Pit. OC watching jungle side from Arch. Triumph not fully committing to A yet. I don't know if they want an initial pick. They might be thinking about falling back here now that they know Extra Salt is playing so conservatively on the site. Triumph still waiting for contact here. This might just be a very delayed rush. Triumph using their utility at both lane and Arch, but OC at the back of Arch near backhaul, able to take out Rizu. JT still near Cubby, now making his way towards the side. CX leading Triumph up lane with that AWP. That might be dangerous to be out in front with that op like that. He needs B-Wills to get up here with him. B-Wills does. Marky down and Pit. Nice toss from B-Wills with the Molotov. B-Wills good for another there in the corner of sight. Fang down. OC able to get one through the spam from Library. OC coming up huge again. Headshot onto B-Wills in the sign. It's only George remaining here for Triumph, and George makes the peek over default box, but OC right there staring back at him through the big scope. OC will get the defuse without any hassle. That'll be a third round going the way of Extra Salt. See if Extra Salt can get at least a couple more rounds before the half here. I feel like they can. Triumph continuing to make their way onto the B side, led by B-Will. Sonic with a massive shot there through the smoke across. JT still in back sight, takes out George. JT good for another CX, trying to use the close range op here, not able to find any damage. JT switching to his sidearm after getting that kill onto Hate. He'll finish off CX, and that'll be a 4th round secured for Extra Salt as they look to close this gap here. Triumph was leading 8-1, so things looking much more doable here for Extra Salt now. They even get one more round here before the half. Second half should be more than doable for them, but you just don't know. Triumph might start popping off on CT as well. OC showing off that patience and op accuracy once more. It gets the pick onto Boiler. Sonic showing his patience. Banana holding that angle down. Banana from half wall for quite a bit there. Gets the kill onto Rizzy. That's going to leave only B-Wills and Hate remaining here for Triumph. And Extra Salt looking like their normal, disciplined selves now, after starting this map off on the wrong foot. It's going to be 4 rounds in a row now for Extra Salt. Hate making his way into window early. Rizu as well. Marky patiently awaiting their arrival in A halls, though. That's Rizu and Hate down. Marky looking for a third out window. B-Will's able to get the trade, though. George able to find JT pushing as well. George will get traded out. 1-man advantage here for Extra Salt. CX comes flying out of balcony, but unfortunately for him, he fell right into the arms of Fang, and we'll be headed into the second half with Triumph leading at 9-6 here on Inferno. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. If you're wearing your wireless headphones and you ran to get water or go to the bathroom, you better make your way back right now. That's you. I'm talking to you. Marky leading Extra Salt up middle, able to take out George early. Fang leading the way for Extra Salt further into the A side. Up lane, Fang good for 1 in the site. Marky able to take out Rizu as well on default. That's going to leave only CX and B-Wills to somehow make things happen. From mid, they do take out OC. B-Wills good for another. B-Wills verse 3. Can he pull it off? Brings it to a 1v2. B-Wills, he might just have it in him, but he's only got 30 HP to work with. Gonna get wrapped around the flank angle from jungle. Fang gonna take care of B-Wills there without an issue. And Extra Salt slicing that lead of Triumphs to just 2 rounds now. Some early utility being used by both teams here at Banana and mid. Salt continuing to make their way up. Banana led by JT. JT able to take out B-Wills with the MAC-10. Triumph is on a force buy here with all Deagles. So them losing even one could prove detrimental here. Yes, making their way up middle late. There's only 20 seconds on the clock. They better hope Rizu and CX don't come up big here with the Deagles. CX looking for one at lane. He's actually going to find two. OC through the smoke. CX able to pick up the Galil. He's got the flank angle somehow now after jumping behind the smoke. And CX will be the round changer there. He's got Hate helping him out as well there at the A side. And Triumph able to secure a 10th round for themselves. That leaves Extra Salt without much cash to work with here. George taking a bit more Molotov damage than I'm sure he would have liked to there. He's gotta watch his step next time. George maybe wearing a size bigger shoe than normal. Didn't realize his toe was in the fire there. CX holding things down from Cubby at the A site. Able to pick up 3 there. At jungle, he only has 8 HP, but he could get more. He's good for a 4th. Could go for the ace, and he gets it. CX good for the ace there at jungle side near Arch. Really using the AK to its max potential there, despite it being a half buy for ES. And once again, Extra Salt not left with a lot of cash to work with due to what was bought last round. Some early defensive utility and mollies here for Triumph. Quite a few. Geez, Triumph. Calm down, boys. And Extra Salt with some good intuition by just hanging way back. Extra Salt knew that there would likely be a lot of HEs and mollies coming in early there, and they were right. Extra Salt made the right move by holding off until now. Extra Salt now moving ever closer up mid and Banana. It looks like they do want to take it Banana. All 5 Extra Salt players here in Banana. Fang down though after Beagles making that initial peek top of Banana. OC taking quite a bit of damage as well. JT low, and George gonna make him pay. Working off that initial damage already done. George good for 2. B-Will's good for 2 as well with the CZ. Not exactly sure why B-Wills had to pull out the CZ there. I guess he ran out of his first clip there and then switched over to the CZ after the M4 round had ammo. Extra Salt will be on a full buy here. Triumph with full rifles as well, except for Rizu having to settle for an MP9. Technically, CX could have dropped him, but there was no need to. Might as well save that money. Rizu can take care of himself with the MP9. We know that, right? Got the Ruben Poison Dart skin. He'll be fine, guys. He'll be fine. He's got Marky moving up with an AK and alls, but Rizu probably will get at least one if he holds this angle. Extra Salt allowing some more time off the clock before this late B push, but B-Wills waiting on the angle there. Boosted Coffin gets the initial headshot. George good for 2 through the smoke. Who is this guy? CX good for another there at the B side. B-Wills from Flower Pot taking out OC. And I mean, I know who George is, but geez, ouse. George, come on, man. Can't do him like that. Not even letting him see you through the smoke. My man. Extra Salt on the half by here. 3 Tech-9s, a Deagle, and a CZ in the hands of Sonic here on the T side. Rizu looking for contact at A Halls. But yes, they don't want that A contact. They want that B contact again. Yes, feeling confident about this B take apparently. Fang helping lead the way onto the B side here. Cross is smoked out. No kills going out yet. All 10 players in the server still alive here. Okay, how is this happening? Extra Salt planting the bomb without anyone from Triumph falling yet. Triumph gonna have to retake verse 5 here. Fang getting things off. Started well, but B-Wills. Jeez, Souse. It's not just going to be 1 trade, but 3. His teammates helping him out there to finish off all 5. And B-Wills. Damn. It looked like Extra Salt was going to have a pretty solid chance at holding the retake, but B-Wills had a different plan for that narrative. Triumph leading by 7, and the pressure certainly mounting here for Extra Salt. I'm going to be honest, I thought Extra Salt was going to close the gap by, or at least be within 1 or 2 rounds here, if not having already tied it up by now. I thought they could have even taken the lead by now, but Triumph continuing to look solid. I can't take anything away from Triumph here. Sonic getting things rolling at mid, able to take out both B-Wills and Hate there near quad. Rizu looking to respond, does take out Sonic at lane, but Marky with the sneaky angle there out balcony. CX still in the sight. CX likely going to be the deciding factor here. CX good for 1 as he finds Marky coming out of pit there. Leaves us in a 2-on-2 scenario. JT and Fang making their way back down middle with the C4. CX knows it. CX with only 36 HP going up against 2 ES players with half health. Can he pull this off? Brings it to a 1v1. Fang down at cross. He's got the bomb in his visuals. And JT coming out just a couple seconds later, going to be caught by that accuracy of CX's AK as well. And Triumph now sitting at map point, which I didn't think I would be saying that Triumph was already at map point this early, but here we are. JT took a lot of damage here from those initial nades and spam. It's got only 9 HP going into the rest of this round. Extra Salt rotating back towards the A site via mid. They're going to have to be careful here. CX on the AWP once again. Rizu holding things down from balcony with the AUG. Marky, nice little pop shot there onto Rizu. Triumph with 3 at B. They're going to need to rotate ASAP. CX trying to get a pick here outside library, but he's completely smoked off. ES taking control of the A site. Triumph gonna have to retake from a one-man disadvantage. Bomb is being planted now. George, nice little ricochet flash into the site. George making his way into site, but JT with only 9 HP somehow holding on to get 2. Marky in a state of confusion headshots JT at corner box there. Fang good for one more as he finds CX trying to rotate into site from arch area, and it's gonna leave only B-Wills remaining here. B-Will's gonna be saving the silenced M4. And if you're keeping count, that's 3 friendly fires, 3 team kills from Extra Salt within the past 50 minutes or so. If we're counting last series versus GGPR. But maybe that friendly fire was just part of that energy they needed to make the run for overtime here. Maybe that'll really get them fired up. Maybe JT's just pissed now. JT, I think he's actually the one who's been on the receiving end of all 3 team kills tonight. I could be wrong about that, but he's been a part of at least 2 of them on the receiving end. OC on the early pick Banana. It's going to pay off. Catches CX peeking it into Banana. And CX probably better off not peeking Banana when OC has an AWP. But Triumph still up by 7, so not the end of the world if they lose a player early there. Marky making his way out balcony, hits that initial headshot onto Hate. Marky good for another there near default. Sonic taking out Risen near default as well through the smoke grenade. And this is all Extra Salt this round. George gonna be forced to save this A1S. And this will indeed be a 9th round going the way of the Salters. And we'll see if ES can keep making this push towards overtime. George and B-Will still peeking Banana early. They're going to be met by an offensive Molotov there. Rizu boosted a flower pot. It's not going to work out for him. Sonic with a nice reaction headshot as he makes his way up to upper mid. CX Still with the AWP in hand. Extra Salt still sitting on the one-man advantage. Minute 10 left on the clock. Markey did get tagged down to 9 HP in that initial skirmish. CX with a chance to get at least one at mid there, but missing the initial shot, and OC, he's gonna make him pay for that. OC does not miss those. Extra Salt still with all 5, making their way onto the A side via lane. Hate still in pit. Nice little headshot there into Sonic. Hate good for another. OC on the trade. Fang able to take care of B-Wills near Arch. That's gonna leave only George remaining for Triumph here. Let's see what he can do with the A1S. Does take out Fang outside of Boiler. Let's see if George goes for this. Whoa, George, that is fire. George, my brother. Little 1G situation there. Not common for George, but you know, it does happen. Happens to the best of us, right? As mentioned earlier, when George dipped his toe into the fire at Banana, George may be wearing a size larger shoe today and kind of forgot about that. Looks like a timeout has been taken by Triumph. Triumph likely talking things over here, not only in terms of what they're going to buy, but how they're going to make sure that this is going to be a map W for them and not give Extra Salt a chance to keep this momentum going. Extra Salt really looking overtime, making overtime still look possible here. Triumph having to settle for 3 P250s, 2 5.7s here. Extra Salt spreading out a bit, sending a couple players near A halls to check things out. They've still got JT at half wall on Banana though. Triumph not realizing how far pushed up JT was. JT good for 2 there. B-Wills and Hate down. They do a significant amount of damage onto JT, sitting at 18 HP. Sonic. Let's take out Rizu here at the A side. CX falling as well there. Outside of sight. George. Looking for anything he can get, does find the headshot from underpass bench onto mid, Fang down, but ultimately getting traded out just a moment later. And Extra Salt now within 4 rounds of potentially taking this to overtime, and strangely, it almost feels like there's more pressure on Triumph here than ES. Sonic making his way up mid. No contact being made yet. Quite a bit of utility and HE nades being used though at both sides by both teams. Thankfully, George was nowhere near that fire at mid. He's learned his lesson. Sonic hears those footsteps of CX's over by Arch. But Extra Salt still causing quite a commotion at B there. Triumph might think bomb is B, but Hate still on the A side by Quad. Catches Marky off guard outside of Boiler. Sonic does get the trade. There's only 15 seconds on the clock. What is happening here? Extra Salt still looking to plant at B. 8 seconds on the clock. They gotta get this thing down. Fang only 19 HP. Fang will survive making the cross. Sonic guarding him as well at cross. Takes out B-Wills partially through that smoke grenade. One-man advantage here for Extra Salt as they guard the C4. Fang does only have 19 HP near OG Water here. CX able to find JT in the site, and CX good for the trade as well after his teammate Rizu falls. And CX will indeed defuse the C4 without any issue. And that will be map 1 going the way of Triumph after a bit of a scare there, might I add. I feel like the majority of us here watching that felt like that was going to overtime, but ultimately Triumph able to hold on. And we'll see if ES can bounce back to their proper form here in map 2. Back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Call my bluff for the last time. This ain't a song, it's a battle cry. No life. I see the clue between the strobe lights. I'm haunted, black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Used to want it bad, used to want it bad, but I can't taste it. I can't help you now, okay? Follow me around, okay? Black face, follow me around, okay? Follow me around, okay? Black face, follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my plate, now I can't think. I said woke up to get X and now I'm feeling this is it. Want the money, want the rest. I do purse, not no cess. They say Don, it's why you sad. I said I just need to think. Red tape, got too close, I hate the city. Black face, show you everything you need till you fornicate it bad. Someone said it's sad. I used to want it bad. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you too many times. Yeah. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you. I know it's in my head. Follow me around, okay? Black face, hey, follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my follow me around, okay? Black face, hey, follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my follow me around, okay? Black face, hey, follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my follow me around, okay? Black face, hey, follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my follow me around, okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, map 2 is upon us. Extra Salt looking to push things to a third map. Let's see what they can do. They're already making their way through upper mid. B-Wills with the initial stop. George helping him out there. Good for the trade. +1. Fang finding 2 Glock headshots, though. So Extra Salt still in the round here. One-man advantage for Triumph defensively. Sonic with the peak over at B. It looks like he has cleared out the B site. Fang not quite with him yet. Sonic sees Hate there on boost box, coming around upper mid. Sonic good for the headshot onto Hate, looking for the final kill onto CX, but CX still with a shot at this one. He's got 70 HP. P2000 in hand. CX looking to retake after the plant here, doing a minimal amount of damage onto Sonic. He needs at least one quick headshot here. He's gonna find it. Fang down, 1v1 situation. CX versus Sonic. CX pulling out his smoke. He's lucky that Sonic didn't try to finish him off there. He's gonna get off the defuse. Can he finish off Sonic? He cannot. And ES will hold on for pistol round. Sonic getting a bit spicy there on the corpse. Easy there, Sonic. Easy there. Extra Salt spreading out a bit here. They've got 2 AKs, a Galil, and 2 MAC-10s to work with. Triumph being conservative with their money. They're essentially on a full save, only CX upgrading to a Deagle. Sonic and Marky able each to get a pick there at A ramp. Extra Salt likely going to be committing to A here. OC good for another. Raizu falls at the top of ramp. OC good for another there with the glow. And OC again. Okay, 3 glow headshots for OC. We see you, OC. Okay. Okay. And Extra Salt will increase their lead. Now up 2-0 here on Vertigo. George on the initial peek, he's got Fang down. And Extra Salt not able to find the trade here. They are going up against a fully rifled Triumph. Triumph does have 2 players without head armor here. We'll see if that plays into the equation as Extra Salt advances up ramp. OC able to get that initial pick. Top ramp, Rizu down. CX falling back to the site with his FAMAS. Still a 4-on-4 scenario. Extra Salt continuing to use some utility towards the A side here. Markey leading the way. Back alley, yellow tarp. George trying to get one from the side. He does. George good for 1 from Boost. CX backing him up on the peak there. Near side, able to pick up 2 at the FAMAS. And that's going to leave only Sonic remaining for Extra Salt. He's lurking big time here. He's got hate watching that rotation, but still able to hit the headshot there with the AK-47. Sonic likely could take out George here, who doesn't have much HP. Sonic indeed will finish him off. Sonic brings it to a 1v2, and suddenly what looked somewhat impossible looking much more possible now for Sonic. Tosses the Molotov back alley, making the peek towards Sandbags. It's gonna be CX just off to the side of ledge there, who's going to finish off Sonic, and that'll be the first round of the map going the way of Triumph. Extra Salt looking for another pick early at A ramp. They are going to do a bit of damage. Both teams taking a bit of damage here at A ramp. No kills being registered yet. JT getting aggressive towards Yellow Tarp. CX does not know just how close JT is. Let's see if JT can capitalize. CX making the peek. JT narrowly missing the headshot. Not able to finish off CX head. Okay, CX finally getting finished off by JT there with the AK-47, but it's still a 1-man advantage for Triumph. ES has taken quite a bit of damage already, though. Extra Salt continuing to let some time off the clock here, still advancing towards the A side. JT already up on default. Contact about to be made. JT hits the headshot onto Rizu. 3-on-3 scenario. George trying to hold things down from backside. Takes out JT. Fang right there for the immediate trade. 2-on-2 scenario. 22 seconds on the clock. B-Wills and Hate trying to fend off Fang and Marquis still at the A side here. But Fang wrapping around default takes out Hate with the AK-47. Marquis backing him up from A ramp. B-Wills down. And that will indeed be a 3rd round going the way of Extra Salt. Early damage being done to CX at A ramp. JT's Molotov gonna come up big there. CX can't quite get away from it. Triumph is on somewhat of a half by here. George, nice little 1D through his teammate's hip there. A little bit of friendly fire going out, I think. But does hit the 1D onto JT. 4-on-4 scenario. Minute 7 here on the clock. Looks like Extra Salt will be regrouping at B stairs. This is looking like a B commit led by Sonic. Sonic already making his way, clearing out the site. But Hate still sneaky there by second pole, able to take out Sonic. OC good for the trade. Plant gonna be faked. OC is able to get one, but the C4 is down in plain view now. Rizu versus 2. Can he pull it off? He only has a deagle to work with here. Does a... Oh, actually, he didn't hit one of those shots on the Marquis. It looked like the first hit, but ultimately Rizu falling at the end of the round to Marquis' AK. And Extra Salt now leading by 3 rounds here on map 2. Marquis leading what looks to be almost an A rush here. Yes, slowing down a little bit. They do get that initial pick. George down on ramp. Marquis good for another as CX keeps it yelled to. Marquis cannot be stopped. Gets a third. Rizu down top ramp. Marquis still advancing into the site with only 16 HP. And this round is all Extra Salt so far. B-Wills and Hate going to be saving those silenced M4s. Hate over here in T-spawn, almost seen by Sonic. He could peek out and get that kill onto Sonic, but doesn't realize Sonic has already crossed from there. And Sonic on the flank will take out B-Wills. B-Wills probably thought that Hate had that angle on lock. Hate still being sneaky at T-spawn stairs here. Gets Fang as well. We'll see if he gets hunted down or not. Okay, Hate. What is this going to be, an exit ace? Able to get JT. Marquis as well does some damage onto OC. Tagged OC down to 48. OC is not having it. Easy to make sure that corpse is dead. And Extra Salt officially securing a 5th round for themselves. Marquis leading the way upper mid here for him and OC. Able to get that first pick. George holding things down from the B stairs though. Able to get one. CX still at B stairs as well. Able to take out Sonic with that P250. Excuse me, George was watching upper mid before that, where that initial pick was made. Three-on-three scenario. Coming up on a minute remaining. OC lurking towards yellow tarp. George making a footstep in sight. Not sure if that was far enough away for Extra Salt to not hear that. Regardless, George good for a 1-deagle, and it's another deagle headshot coming in from George. OC and Marquis down. Only JT remaining here for Extra Salt. Can he pull it off? Not quite. Too many enemies to deal with there from default. George gonna finish him off in a big round there from George. Triumph. Now with 2 rounds on the board, can they build off this? peek onto B. Stairs does hit the headshot onto Sonic. That was a bit of a risky peek there from Hate, but it worked out. George making several peeks here at A mid. Not making any visuals yet on the enemy. JT. Can get a pick here at the B side. Does a hair of damage onto Hate. George on the rotation, keeping an eye on upper mid. Does hit the headshot onto Marky. Extra salt. Now at a two-man disadvantage as they try to take the B side. B-Will still there by default, taking care of OC. Hate still in the corner of sight as well. JT is able to take out Hate, but he's only got 4 HP remaining. Does take out Rizu, but doesn't realize B-Walls was hugging close wall there. B-Wills with only 3 HP. Pull that off. CX from Boost Box at upper mid takes out Fang. And that'll be a third round going the way of Triumph. Early utility coming out from Triumph here. CX and George combining for a couple picks at mid, but Sonic and Marky somehow responding with just Glocks to even it out to a 3-on-3. Does ES have a chance at this? Just maybe. Rizu taking out JT, but Fang on the trade. ES still in this. B-Wills does pick off Marky there at A ramp. Let's see if Fang can pull off a 1v2. He's got the Deagle. Has the C4 in hand as well. Hate and B-Wills do not know his location, but B-Wills on the rotation there by mid-ledge will find Fang by Yellow Tarp, and Triumph now within just a single round of potentially tying things up here on map 2. CX with some spam through the smoke there at A mid. Tags Fang all the way down to 10 HP. That's not exactly a good start for Extra Salt. CX able to finish off Fang as well. CX got quite aggressive there. Maybe had an intuition that some of his initial shots hit, or just, you know, thought he could get a good flank angle there, and he did set himself up for a solid opportunity there. He's gonna fall back to safety though on the A site. Extra Salt at a one-man disadvantage, but still have some options here. JT with a nice pick at A ramp. CX down. That's gonna bring us to a 4-on-4. 45 seconds on the clock. JT bringing the bomb to A, but Rizu and George very prepared defensively. That's gonna leave only Sonic and JT remaining here for ES. JT does have the C4 in hand, so even though there's only 22 seconds, maybe a plant inbound at the B side here. Triumph too far away from B to stop this plant, actually. Sonic, nice peek there, upper mid box. Rizu down. George looking to retake. George somehow getting both players with 7 HP. Oh man, George. Gotta stop surprising us like that. So at a minimum, George should have been picked off there. But ultimately, it's another round going to Triumph. Things all tied up now at 5 apiece. Marky making his way out upper mid. B-Will's getting one deeged at boost box. Rizu and Hate on the rotation there. Rizu able to get 2 at upper mid. Hate taking out 1 at B. Sonic and Fang still alive here on the B side. Bomb down in that smoke way in front of them though. Not ideal. CX rotating back to the side does find Fang through that smoke grenade. Sonic good for another 1 deeg for Extra Salt, but George ultimately getting the final trade of the round. And Triumph officially in the lead now, up by a single round, 6-5. CX taking some early damage there at A-Ramp. CX going to be finished off by OC through the smoke grenade partially. OC good for another, finds Rizu there, top ledge above A-Ramp. One-man advantage for Extra Salt as they continue to make their way up A-Ramp. Marky leading the way here for the terrorists. George still back sight. Let's see if he's able to get at least one on the push here. George trying to make something happen through that smoke grenade from Boost. Not able to do so. Sonic looks like he will successfully plant default without any further contest there. Triumph likely going to be saving this one. Looks like they're hanging around just to see if they could get one more. George and B-Will is still hanging out here backside. Hey, getting taken care of at upper mid. Excuse me, I believe he was lower mid. He was coming back up A-Ramp, but ultimately OC able to pop George there backside, so George not going to be able to save his weapon. B-Will's will indeed. And Extra Salt firing right back, tying things up at 6 apiece here on Vertigo. Extra Salt again. Smokes are down though defensively. Fang already moving through that smoke towards Yellow Tarp though. Oh boy, doesn't realize that CX was right there on the other side of the smoke by ledge. Fang falls, CX finds another partially through the smoke there near Yellow Tarp. And CX just too strong here guarding the A-Ramp. Extra Salt not able to get the spacing or picks they were looking for. CX good for a third as JT falls at the bottom of a ramp. Oh, George, you got to be careful with those Molotovs. I'm not so worried about George when he's throwing the Molotovs. It's more when they're being thrown at him. And Sonic still looking for a pick there at the bottom of a ramp, but ultimately Rizu able to land the A1S headshot and Triumph back in the lead, up by 1 round. And I will say this would be quite impressive if Triumph somehow pulled off this series 2-0, but Extra Salt with such a level of discipline and talent, gotta imagine this is going to a third. Rizu on the stop there from upper mid box. Hits that initial headshot onto Marky. Hate good for a pick as well, although he does get tagged down to 19 HP in that skirmish. Hate potentially looking for another stop here at the B site, but Extra Salt rotating back towards A ramp with the C4. Only 30 seconds for ES to work with here. Things starting to get a bit concerning this round. Fang, nice little headshot there, backside. OC good for another with that AWP, keeping an eye at lower mid. Or excuse me, backside. They actually were not keeping an eye at lower mid. Hate making his way up ramp with only 19 HP. Does take out one, brings it to a 1v2, but can he pull this off with only 19 HP? Not going to be able to do so. Feng making the peek from Yellow Tarp, and we're all tied up again at 7 apiece as we head into the final round of the first half here on map 2. OC with that initial pick there above Yellow Tarp, that could open up the A side for Extra Salt here. Triumph not with a lot of weaponry to work with. Only 3 MP9s and a Deagle remaining here on the CT side. Extra Salt still letting some time off the clock though. They haven't even gone back to pick up the bomb yet. Marky already flanking his way into the A site from upper mid. Good for 2 headshots there with the AK-47. CX and Hate remaining with MP9s. CX going to be taken out on the rotation. And it's only Hate remaining here in the final round of the half. Fang able to finish off Hate at the end of the round there, and we'll be headed into the second half with Extra Salt leading by a single round. Be back in just a few minutes here. Don't go anywhere.
Tell me everything's alright. Life is just a bunch of faces, and if it's not, we'll still be fine. I know we're going places. I don't care too much. I don't care too much. As long as I can keep you by my side. I don't care too much. We got time, no rush. In your eyes, I always see there is something meant for me. In your eyes, I always feel different. In your eyes, I always see there is something meant for me. In your eyes, I always feel different.
And we're back. What can Triumph do here on the offensive side of Vertigo? Triumph, led by George, already making their way up the A ramp. CX using quite a bit of utility here. This is going to be a full A commit from Triumph, already making their way into the side. Rizu already planting the bomb. What is happening? It's going to be a fake initially, but he's going to have enough time to plant now. OC and a teammate flanking from lower mid there. George holding things down from rotation side, backside, able to find JT. Rizu and B-Wills each combining for one more pick from the back of the site. That's going to leave only OC and Sonic on the retake here for Extra Salt. OC with only 10 HP. Can he get a headshot tap here? He does! OC looking for more, but B-Will's ultimately able to trade him out. Sonic getting the trade again, brings it to a 1v1. Looking for the headshot onto George. He lands it, but Sonic does not have a kit. Oh boy. Or no, he did have a kit, but I guess there still wasn't enough time to defuse there? I mean, it certainly would have been close. We'll have to have another look at that one later. CX laying down some suppressive fire through that smoke grenade next to Yellow Tarp. Extra Salt is on a force buy here. 2 MP9s, 2 Deagles, and a FAMAS in the hands of Sonic. Triumph, on the other hand, utilizing 4 Galils and an AK-47 here in the hands of Rizu. Triumph continuing to let some time run off the clock here, letting the pressure build a bit for Extra Salt. Rizu leading the way out upper mid there with Hate at his side. Sonic does take out Rizu initially. Hate good for the trade. Not a lot of time here. Triumph gonna have to get the bomb down at the B side. B-Wills. Nice little headshot there onto OC as he tries to rotate over boost box. And it looks like this will indeed be a 9th round going the way of Triumph. Extra Salt already falling back to save their weapons. Smart move here. And Extra Salt, you know, maybe a bit exhausted here from this past 24 hours, having to play that 7+ hour best of 5 last night, which felt like a best of 9. And then already taking on GGPR earlier today. Does Extra Salt have what it takes here to outlast Triumph in map 2? Certainly this could still go either way, but... And I'm not trying to take anything away from Triumph here. Triumph has continually progressed and become a better team every week. Contact being made here at upper mid. Bang on the initial pick. B-Wills and George good for a couple trades. Marky able to take out 2 more there at upper mid. Bomb down. And that's a bit more the Extra Salt we're used to seeing there. Sonic continuing to make his way upper mid there, but ultimately Marky good for the trade. Things are all tied up once again at 9 apiece. Is this where Extra Salt starts pulling away here? Just maybe. OC on the AWP again. So certainly nothing's going to come easy this round for Triumph. Oh boy, Triumph might be in for some fatal contact here. OC about to peek a ramp. With that off, OC good for the initial pick. George down partially through that smoke grenade. Triumph continuing to make their way up a ramp, though, despite being on that early one-man disadvantage. OC still holding things down from opposite side of Yellow Tarp, able to find that pick onto CX close range with the AWP. And this is going to be a rough remainder of the round here for Triumph. They're trying to get a pick here onto the A side, but JT backside taking out Hate. It's only Rizu and B-Wills remaining here for Triumph. B-Wills does still have the C4, but there's only 40 seconds on the clock. Triumph gonna have to make their move here. They need a pick at the A side, but JT peeking from boost box, able to get 2 with the A1S. Rizu and B-Wills down as they try to make something happen there late in the round. And Extra Salt has recaptured the lead by a single round. OC again. The nice pick at upper mid. OC just all over the map with that AWP. Fang good for 2 at A ramp. And even though this is an eco, yes, not giving Triumph any room for shenanigans there. And I would say if Triumph loses this round, this is a full buy. If they lose this round, they should probably take a timeout. Slow things down a bit here. Sonic on the peak from top B stairs, able to get hit, looking for a second, finds Rizu, looking for a third, but George good for the trade. But that is a bit tragic for Triumph there. They probably could have got the trade out without losing a second player. CX getting boosted up here at the beginning of the B side. Will hit that headshot onto Markey. Close left-hand side of default. CX tagged with a single HP, though, still gets another headshot onto OC as he advances towards default, picks up that AWP. Somehow, it's Triumph with a one-man advantage. JT looking for a kill through that smoke towards default, not able to find one. B-Wills on the nice peek there from the AC unit. Bomb officially going to detonate here soon. It looks like JT will likely be able to save his AK. But Triumph right back within a single round of tying this up. spreading out a bit here. Deciding to not peek B stairs or A ramp early. Triumph now lurking a bit up A ramp and upper mid as well. No contact being made yet. Less than a minute on the clock, and this has been a relatively quiet round so far. Triumph now looking to regroup B stairs with the bomb. This is likely going to be a B commit from Triumph. Less than 35 seconds here. George can be boosted up. Sonic on the initial peek though, right-hand side of side takes out Hate on stairs. George good for the trade. Triumph advancing into side. CX nice op shot onto Markey. It's a one-man advantage for Triumph. As they look to get the bomb planted, they do. JT falling victim to that well-placed Molotov from Triumph. Fang does get the trade onto CX, but it's only Fang remaining here with the A1S. He's making his way past the power box, tries to take out Rizu, not able to do so. And once again, Triumph has tied things up. We're now at 11 apiece here on map 2, and it looks like ES will be calling for a timeout. Extra Salt will be on a full buy here. They were able to get an off back in OC's hands as well. Sonic, though, settling for an MP9. Markey settling for the FAMAS, and Markey going to be the only player here on the defensive side with head armor. So let's see if Triumph can capitalize off that detail. CX on the AWP once more. OC rotating back to the A site instead of taking upper mid this round. But CX coming up, huge Opper versus Opper at A ramp. CX able to take out OC just over the top of that smoke grenade, but Fang peeking by Yellow Tarp. We'll get the trade a couple seconds later onto CX, but Extra Salt has taken a lot of damage there in those initial couple skirmishes. Fang somehow surviving with only a single HP. Sonic sliding away with 9. Looking for a pick here at the B side. It's going to be George picking up one, but Markey on the flank. Good for 3, and Markey 4 with the FAMAS on the flank at the bottom of B stairs. Markey going wild and putting Extra Salt back in the lead here by a single round, up 12-11 here on map 2. And that's going to leave Triumph without a whole lot of cash to work with here. Let's see how they respond. Looks like CX and George will be buying AKs. B-Will's on the Galil as well. This is going to be a force buy from Triumph as they look to tie things up once more. Keeping an eye at B stairs through bottom. Great does find Hate. There's another T down there. Sonic didn't get the visuals on that. Triumph rotating back towards B stairs with the C4. All 4 Triumph players at B stairs here. Sonic gonna be spotted. Back of default, still able to land the kill onto George there, top of B stairs. Sonic taking a ridiculous amount of damage from that nade, but still able to hit the headshot after peeking out again towards stairs. It's only CX and B-Wolves remaining here. CX down by OC's AWP near power box. OC good for another as he downs B-Wolves there at the end of the round. An extra salt now up by 2 rounds as we get ever deeper into the second half here. All 5 Triumph players making their way towards A ramp. This is a majority save for Triumph. Fang able to take out 2 there. George on the friendly fire accidentally takes out B-Wills. Quite a few friendly fires we've been casting tonight. OC able to take out CX on ramp there from default. That's going to leave only Rizu remaining here for Triumph, and he's getting tagged up from backside. He jumps on top of default boxes here, but he's only got 18 HP. Rizu ultimately taken out by Sonic there as he makes his way back towards default. An extra salt within 2 rounds of potentially pushing this to a 3rd and deciding map. See? Peeking out Yellow Tart, but he's going to get spammed up. He's going to get tagged all the way down to 22 HP. We'll see how effective OC will be able to be the remainder of the round. Keeping an eye on back alley here at the A side, but Triumph not letting up yet. Still trying to make their way up A ramp. OC taking a lot of damage from that Molotov. CX able to finish him off at back alley. CX good for another there in the side. CX gets a 3rd as Marky rotates from backside towards default. B-Will's helping out at A as well. Nice little Galil shot through the smoke onto Sonic, and that's going to be only JT left here for Extra Salt looking to save this A1S. And that was a very proper execute from Triumph there. If they can do a couple more of those, they could certainly tie things up again, but still a little bit too early to tell if they'll be able to do that. JT good for 2 exits. It always makes me nervous when players get that close to the grate. Even great players fall off vertigo sometimes, boys. It happens. OC coming up big there at A ramp. The initial defensive stop has been made. Marky doing his part at upper mid as well. It's going to be an early 2-man advantage for Extra Salt. OC still keeping an eye on A ramp from back sight. Smokes going down in the site. That'll block off OC's vision for just long enough for Triumph to advance their positioning here. Triumph still taking a 3v5, but OC with a big op shot there through the smoke grenade towards default. B-Will's down. George will get the C4 planted. Hate and George versus 5. Fang taking out Hate near that smoke. It's going to be George versus 5. George good for 1, looking for more. Able to take out 2, but traded out by JT. And Extra Salt will indeed secure a 15th round. And we are now sitting at map point. Extra Salt leading 15-12 here on map 2. CX with a big pick there onto the top of B stairs. JT will find some redemption though. I believe JT got a bit of a flank angle there somehow at the bottom of B stairs. Might have pushed through upper mid. Pair of trades going out at the B side. That's going to leave Triumph at a one-man advantage here. B-Wills not with the molly he was looking for there. But Rizu ultimately able to take out OC on the rotation there. And Triumph looks like they will indeed likely be pulling this round off at least. And this will indeed be a Triumph round. Fang going to be saving this A1S and T-spawn. It's a nice little desk there in T-spawn. It's a dope TV. What were they eating before the game on Vertigo here? Looks like a couple pizzas, a couple spilled sodas, maybe a coffee there.
Terrorists win.
Pack of beers below, man, with a warning sign on it as well. Whew. Must be some strong alcohol to have that large of a warning sign on it. But indeed, the bomb did officially detonate. That's a 13th round going the way of Triumph. Can they get 2 more to push this to overtime? Extra Salt is in a majority save this round. Fang was able to retain that A1S from last round, but he's already down. CX taking him out at upper mid. Rizu backing him up. CX good for another after swapping out to his Deagle. And this is Triumph's round to lose. Should be able to hold on to this one. Sonic right here below boost pocket. Triumph doesn't realize he had B-Wills. Will eventually take him off there. Bomb planted B site. JT looking for some sort of exit. Maybe looking for a rifle he can save, just maybe. Here's those footsteps right on the other side of him. Ring around the rosy of T-spawn stairs. And JT pulled out his knife. He thought he was going to get sneaky there, but B-Will's coming in from the rotation, saw what was going on there. Some spam shots through Yellow Tarp. He tagged OC all the way down to 15 HP. Fang pushing up. B-Will's taking him out. And Triumph off to a solid start this round. Can they keep it up? CX with a nice op shot onto OC. And that is not a good sign for Extra Salt. Triumph sitting at a 2-man advantage here. CX good for another. The same spot there by Yellow Tarp. And JT probably shouldn't have made that peek yet. Would have been much safer to just hold off for a bit there. Looks like Triumph will be rotating back to B stairs. This is going to be a B commit from Triumph. It's only Marky and Sonic remaining here for Extra Salt. They are indeed going to be saving. Well, not saving, excuse me. Final round. They've got no choice. Only Sonic remaining. Rizu finding him there at upper mid, and we are indeed headed to overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a series on our hands here. Triumph looking for a way to potentially close this one out in 2 maps, but Extra Salt clearly do not want to let that happen, looking for a third and deciding map. We'll be back in just a few minutes to find out the result.
No pulse and all alone. Time's not kind and it won't let go. No thoughts left in my head. My mind's not mine and it won't forget. But you bring me back from my darkness black. Cause the soul in me and the heart I have for you. It bleeds for you, it beats again. Oh, you bring me to life. 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 Bring me to life.
Welcome back, everybody. Overtime is upon us. CX leading the way for Triumph here with 29 kills. OC leading the way for Extra Salt with 25. Rizu, upper mid, looking for trouble. OC playing top sandbags. OC certainly in a bit more conservative position than usual there. Contact about to be made at boost box upper mid. Marky gonna come out on top of that one. Rizu down. Marky did take quite a bit of damage, but OC doing his thing over at A ramp. Does hit the initial op shot onto B-Wills. George good for the trade though. Fang on the flank angle from Yellow Tarp takes out both CX and George. That is not good news for Triumph. That's going to leave only Hate remaining here for the terrorist side. He does have the C4 in hand, has an AK-47, but 1v4. Oh boy. Hate hears those footsteps on A ramp. Maybe he can finish off Marky. Get one more pick after that in the side. Maybe bring it to a 1v2. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. JT and Marky with the head boost here, though, and Hate able to take out both of them. Does get tagged down to 22 HP. Fang is still there. Backside boosted up now. Hate does not have that information. He's gonna see. Oh, he didn't see Fang fast enough. Wasn't able to react up top quite quick enough. Fang will get the kill and the defuse, and Extra Salt back in the lead here, 16 to 15. Fang. A bit aggressive here. Moved up. Yellow Tarp. It's going to pay off so far. Hits that initial headshot onto Hate. CX and the boys still advancing A ramp, but Fang good for another. Fang getting a third. Switches to his sidearm, looking for a fourth, but B-Wills finally trading out. It's only Rizu and B-Wills remaining here for Triumph. B-Wills took quite a bit of damage there in that skirmish. Down to 32 HP now. Triumph looking down the barrel of a 2v4. Less than a minute on the clock. Rizu and B-Wills not giving up on this A push yet. B-Wills has a decent angle here as he leads towards default. Triumph gonna need a kill here in backside ASAP. Rizu tossing the flash. B-Wills on the peak, but Sonic gonna hit that headshot back onto B-Wills. Marky helping him out as well, taking out Rizu just a moment before that. An Extra Salt increasing their lead to 2 rounds here in OT. JT holding things down at upper mid initially, but does get traded out by B-Wills. Triumph good for another pick right before that skirmish as well. So ES is undermanned at the A site currently. Sonic likely gonna have to get at least one stop defensively here at the B side. Triumph rotating towards B stairs with the C4. They still have CX upper mid as well. Excuse me, as well on the hard lurk here. CX sees Marquis crossing on boost box, not able to finish him off though. Fang on the flank again. Comes up below B stairs, good for one, does get traded out. Triumph with only 16 seconds to get the bomb down here. They're making a run for it at the A site. Hate should, yep, he will be able to get this planted at default. CX watching the rotation there at upper mid is good for one. Sonic trading him out just a moment later, but Sonic going into a somewhat difficult 1v2 here as he tries to retake the A site. Sonic advancing past default, fakes the defuse, takes a step to the right out of view. George still behind sandbags here. Another fake defuse coming out. He knows George is behind sandbags. Hate most likely on ramp. And Sonic just not quite able to bait out the peaks he wanted there from Triumph. So Triumph does get one round there on the T side. Will that be enough to potentially close out Extra Salt on Counter Terrorist? Still very unknown. We'll be going live here in just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Tell yourself day after day it's time to prove it. No days off, keep the hustle moving. Wanna see you be what you want it to be, prove it. I know I sound crazy to the ones who said oh. I know I empower those who dream like me. I know I sound crazy to the ones who said oh. I know I empower those who dream like me. And you say you wanna be somebody. So
we're back. Second half of the first overtime. Extra Salt. Grouped up with 4 on the B stairs. Not making a full commit quite yet. A lot of Molotovs and utility being used into the B side, though. This will be a commit now. JT leading the way for ES into the side. Takes out B-Wills. Hate still right there. Backside behind the smoke grenade. Hate good for 1 on the trade. Fang trading back. Extra Salt still has not planted here. George sneakily making his way into the side. George good for 1. Takes out OC. George somehow able to fall back, but gets spammed through the smoke. Another pair of trades coming out by CX and Rizu. Rizu left in a 1v1 with Marky. Rizu able to finish him off their backside. And Triumph has tied things up again. This time it's 17 apiece in overtime. Can Triumph potentially close out ES in 2 maps? I just don't know. Extra Salt does have OC on the AWP once again offensively here. Quite a bit of early utility being used by both teams here. Extra Salt not definitively committing to either side yet, although C4 is rotating back towards bottom of A ramp now. Sonic still floating over by the B stairs, being the good lurker he is. JT still looking to lead the way into the A side here. All 10 players in the server still alive. Marky with some nice spam through yellow container. That's going to bring Rizu down to just 28 HP. Rizu still holding back lane. George with an eye on the side. George good for 2 on the side with the A1S. Fang still making his way around back alley. Rizu able to stop him. So Fang not going to be able to do anything sneaky there. CX good for another as he pushes out towards A ramp. OC down on A ramp ledge. And it's only Sonic remaining here for Extra Salt. He was nowhere near the C4. Could only go for some kills there at the end with no time on the clock. And Triumph has recaptured the lead by a single round here in OT. And it looks like Extra Salt has called for a timeout. See what aspect of their offense they're looking to innovate here. CX up to a firm 33 kills now, by the way. Looks like live play will be resuming. We'll see if Extra Salt decides to hit B again. I feel like they've been having better luck at B as the match has progressed. Contact being made here at B stairs. OC gonna fall early, or excuse me, OC on the pick early. JT and Sonic still alive, 9 and 16 HP each. JT was able to take out Hate, getting aggressive there at the B stairs. Marky good for another as he finds George peeking. It's only B-Wills and Rizu remaining here defensively. B-Wills keeping an eye on the B site. He's actually going to get flanked out by Marky, who had already rotated from upper mid. It's only Rizu remaining here for Triumph, and that will indeed be an 18th round going the way of Extra Salt. And so, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be heading into another OT here momentarily. Don't go anywhere. It's still really hard to predict which way this one's going to go. Second overtime is upon us. Extra Salt on the T side. Extra Salt spreading out a bit here, looking for an early pick. They find one. Sonic able to find Hate here, top of B stairs. E-Wells getting a bit of redemption, takes out JT on B stairs, but Sonic right there for the immediate trade. One-man advantage for Extra Salt. Rizu looking to even things out, does quite a bit of damage onto Sonic there, not able to finish him off on the B side. Rizu makes the peek from close wall, will hit the headshot onto Sonic with the A1S. CX still keeping an eye on upper mid from boost box, but he's looking away for just long enough for Marky to move all the way up to box. Hit that AK headshot on CX. Rizu finds another at B, but Fang right there for the trade. That's going to leave only George remaining here for Triumph. George not giving up on this one, still advancing towards the site. He has dissipated that Molotov with a smoke. George tossing a flash, moving towards the site. Oh, just narrowly missing that headshot onto Marky near back pole. George still making the peeks here into sight, looking for domes, but Fang and Marky giving him nothing to work with here. Does dink Fang, but Fang returning fire, hitting the headshot onto George, and Extra Salt is back in the lead, now up 19-18 as we get ever further into this OT mayhem here. Leading the way up the ramp for Extra Salt. Nice little spam back there onto George through yellow container. Wills trying to do some damage from defaulted A. Extra Salt still not fully committing to the A side yet. Rizu with an opportunity to take out Fang through the smoke. He does. Fang down at yellow tarp. Extra Salt still here at A ramp. 50 seconds on the clock. Extra Salt gonna have to do something soon here. JT still looking for that initial pick here on the A side. 35 seconds remaining. JT pushing up towards default, will find that initial headshot onto B-Wills at close wall there. Marky good for the plant without any further contest, but George and Rizu already on the retake with the A1S's. Take out two. CX good for another with that AWP, but Sonic keeping ES in the round, picks up a quick 2K there near default. Sonic looking to finish off. He gets two more. Big 4K there from Sonic. CX and Hate with maybe just a hair of miscommunication there. I think one of them had accidentally quick switched whoever wasn't on the bomb there. Oh man, what a play from Sonic. ES now leading by 2 in the second overtime. George with some initial spam. Tags up Fang for just a bit. George with a nice toss there onto A-ramp over yellow container. That will take care of Marky. JT from back lane will take care of Rizu, but ES taking a lot of damage from all that HE and Molly action. Still a 4-on-4, but the upper hand certainly with Triumph here. B-Wills still holding things down from boost spot at the A side. Able to find one on A ramp. Fang still alive with 16 HP on A ramp. Wasn't able to get the trade. One-man advantage for Triumph. Extra Salt with only 35 seconds to work with here. Fang going to be dropped the AWP. Extra Salt will be committing to the A side. George coming up huge. Pre-fire through the smoke. Takes out both Sonic and Fang. B-Will's backing him up from backside, partially through the smoke as well. OC down. And Triumph back to within just a single round here in the second overtime. Can they potentially come back here and close out in 2 maps, or is Extra Salt determined to push this to a 3rd map? Destined, I should say. Are they destined to? I don't know. Don't go anywhere. We'll find out in just a couple minutes. Live play officially resuming here in the second overtime. Extra Salt on counter terrace. Triumph looking to make something happen here on the T side. Triumph spreading out quite a bit here. Looking for an initial pick, not finding any contact quite yet. JT, nice little HE toss over at B stairs. That's going to tag up both George and CX quite a bit there. CX still leading the way onto the B side for Triumph. No kills being exchanged yet. There's JT with the first stop from Powerbox. OC to back him up on the rotation there. Takes out CX. OC good for another with the AWP. Hate does get one, but immediately traded out. Ultimately, Rizu, the final player remaining there for Triumph at upper mid, going to be taken care of by OC. And Extra Salt back up by 2. I think I'm just gonna watch Sonic strafe this whole round. This is nuts. Look at this man. Look at those moves. Rizu able to get things going at A ramp, but I'm still just mesmerized by Sonic. Fang, good for the initial stop there at A ramp as Triumph edges ever closer towards A, but OC able to help him out. Takes out CX as well. Leaves us in a 3-on-3 scenario. 53 seconds on the clock here. Rizu opening things up at the B site as he downs Sonic. That's going to free up B-Wolves for the plant. One-man advantage for Triumph. This is their round to lose. Can they hold on here? This would slice the lead of ES back to just a single round. OC rotating up B stairs, finds two. JT good for the final kill. And Extra Salt will get the defuse without any further contest. And man, what a battle it's been so far. Extra Salt able to hold out there on Vertigo, and we're going to be headed to a third and deciding map. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Turn my heart into something gold. Knew I sold my soul to the devil long ago. I rode it all along on your way right before it broke. Time was thrown down the well, so I let you go.
All right, everybody. Looks like it's just going to be a few more minutes here before we head into map 3. So if you need to go grab a water, refreshment, or otherwise, now would be the time to do so. Both teams taking just a bit of a breather here, as would be understandable before we get going for map 3. So we'll be back soon, and we'll see who ultimately is going to walk away from this one as the victor.
by your side. I fell up when you fell down, but we stayed in flight. I'm laughing to myself, cause I know that I can't deny. I can't find what you can't hide right inside my mind. What I do right now. What I do right now for you.
Show me an opening in the clouds, and I'll take it, yeah. Reminding myself to just let go. Don't wonder how far I can fall. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out. Never fade out. Oh, 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 oh. Shooting through the clouds, I know it's alright, it's alright. Heavens are the limit now. Let's fly just one more night, one more night. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out. Never fade out. Oh, oh,
We're stuck in your car on a Friday night. And we laugh away stuff we try not to talk about. Still your smile keep on heating up the climate. And all the blood to my cheeks are rushing out, yeah, yeah. And by accident, you're getting closer. me something, tell me something. Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts? Yeah. 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend zone. I swear that you look at me differently. Whatever it is, it just feels so real. And your eyes keep on talking in the silence, and all the blood to my cheeks are rushing now, yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping you are getting closer. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts, yeah. And that I'm sick of this friend zone. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend zone.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Woo. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Summer sauce, dripping, dripping. Woo. Got it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Got it. You know, yeah, you know. I'm only making moves. There ain't no other option. There ain't no other option. So if you talking juice, well, damn, you know I got it. Yeah, you know I got it. Nobody got it like me. Nobody got it like me. Yeah. I got the juice. I got it. From a droppy in the scene, I feel lucky, yeah. Got them watching from Paris to popping, yeah. With this music was lurking, now I'm attacking. Now with the chatting, I just step up and make it happen. It's a lifestyle. Living young and restless, yeah, we quite wild. If I want it, I'ma get it talking right now. And I ain't got no regrets, it's my time now. Lights out when you see us talking moves. You don't know that's the topic. And if you talking juice, well, damn, you know I got it. Damn, you know I got it. Nobody got it like me. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know it, yeah. Summer sauce, dripping, dripping. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got the juice, you know. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Nobody got it like me. Nobody got it like me. Step up on the stage, turn it in a crime scene. Some killers only. Oh yeah, stay winning me and the whole team. I'm tripping, juice tripping. I got the game. Vice gripping, no permission. Everything green, night vision. They can try, but can't do it like Vinny. I ain't tripping, drip, drip. They can try, but can't do it like Vinny. Yeah, no permission. I got it.
Okay, CX, come back here. We gotta get this map going. Boys, gentlemen. Triumph making their way towards the B side. OC and JT with the initial stops there. Hate on the trade. Sonic and Marky good for 2 more. Hate able to take out Marky right after though. But Hate, the last player remaining. Fang able to finish him off with the USP headshot and extra salt. Getting things started on the right foot here, up 1-0 on overpass. Fang getting things started early there in connector. Able to find one with the MP9 top connector. Sonic, good for another defensive stop there onto George. B-Will's taking quite a bit of damage from the A1S there as well. Zoo and B-Will's the only 2 players remaining. They will be finished off with relative ease there from Extra Salt. Triumph now potentially going into their bye round. OC getting aggressive there. Peeking Fountain with the scout does tag George down to 29 HP. Triumph continuing to let some time off the clock here. 55 seconds remaining. They're still a bit spread out. CX able to make the initial pick there as Triumph advances towards the A side. OC get a defensive stop with the scout there, but Rizu getting a bit of redemption onto Fang, and as he peeks into bathroom from long entry. OC still in the side here behind default. Good for another trade going out. Sonic good for 2 from Truck, finally getting traded out by B-Wills. B-Wills 1v1 situation, faking the plan. He only has 11 HP here going up against Marky, who has an MP9 in hand. Able to finish off B-Wills there at default. B-Wills with essentially no health to work with there, and Extra Salt Up to a 3-0 lead here on Overpass. Triumph not left with a lot of cash to work with this round. 2 Tech 9s, 3 Deagles here on the Triumph side. JT going to be tagged down to 63 early, but a lot of damage being done onto Hate and George early regardless. Hate still making his way out of Monster Tunnel. Tech 9 headshot onto JT. Still a lot of time for Triumph to work with here. Less than a minute remaining. Triumph looking to rotate back towards A with the C4, but they don't have that clear of a shot at A yet. Triumph advancing up long, trying to take out Fang there, and Bank. Fang just narrowly avoiding a potential 1D there. OC good for one stop at long. He's going to be backed up by Fang and Sonic in the site. And Triumph only able to take out one there as Extra Salt secures a 4th round for themselves here in the 3rd and deciding map. Getting aggressive there, keeping an eye on Fountain entrance. Able to take out Rizu early with that AWP. Sonic at short near sandbags. Will find George in water. B-Will's good for the trade. Hate still making things happen here at the B side. Does take out Marky near default. Brings us to a 3-on-3 scenario. A minute on the clock here. Triumph with still a good shot at potentially taking the B site if they want to. Smokes are down. Triumph making the full B commit. CX trying to take care of JT and Water, but he's going to get picked off. Bomb going to be dropped as well. OC good for one on the site there, and that's going to leave only B-Will's remaining. AK-47 in hand, 79 HP, 1v3. This is a rough situation for B-Wills to be in, and Fang will finish him off from short there. That'll be a 5th round going the way of Extra Salt, who are certainly looking very strong so far on Overpass. Coming off such an intense OT map last map. We'll see if Triumph can make this a close one again, or if Extra Salt is going to put their stamp on this one. Fang. The initial stop there at Bathroom, but Triumph was good for one trade, although they did lose a player earlier on before that big skirmish at Bathroom. OC, nice shot onto Rizu at short again. Triumph left in a 2v4 situation. B-Wells with the C4, CX leading him up past sandbags. B-Wells boosted up on sandbags. Marquis peeking out from barrels. Does take care of CX, but B-Wells right there for the trade from sandbag. B-Wells left in a 1v3 once again. Does do some damage onto JT, but ultimately falling from heaven in a 6th round going the way of Extra Salt. Things going pretty smooth here for ES thus far. OC with the peek into connector. B Will's down. Triumph trying to get a pick at B meanwhile, but George taking quite a bit of damage through that smoke initially. Triumph letting a bit more time off the clock here before making a commit to either site. Utility being used on behalf of both teams here at the B side. Nice talks from CX. Sonic down due to that Molotov. Rizu pushing out Monster Tunnel. Good for one. JT does get one from Heaven, but regardless, CX will be able to plant the C4 without too much contest there. Fang rotating out of connector exit will find the headshot onto Hate. CX good for a kill near Graffiti. JT still near Graffiti, does trade out onto CX, and JT good for the final headshot as well. Rizu down, and Water and Extra Salt off to an extremely strong start here on Overpass, now leading 7-0 here on the third and deciding map. George having some trouble getting going here offensively, still looking for his first frag. Looks like Triumph will be able to squeeze out a full buy for themselves here. But none of these rounds are going to be an easy task for Triumph, especially with OC still on the AWP here. Continuing to let a bit of time off the clock here, but now making their move towards B. Unfortunately, George down in the midst of that chaos due to a team kill. Eagles does trade out. Hate good for two more there, and Water. One-man advantage for Triumph. Bomb will be planted by B-Wills. Let's see if Fang and OC decide to save this. It looks like they're still going for it. Makes visual contact with Hate and Water. Nice little flick shot from OC. OC good for another. Brings it to a one-on-one. B-Wills versus OC. OC still in AWP in hand. Quick switching back as he strafes over, and B-Wills seizing the moment, and he will indeed secure a first round for Triumph here. Aggressive here in connector, and it's gonna pay off. Fang good for two in connector, and that's an unfortunate start to the round for Triumph, who's trying to get back in this one. CX with the peek in the bathroom will take care of OC. Hate getting aggressive towards B with that Galil will find one. The rest of this round all ES as they finish off the remaining players of Triumph there at both sides. Extra Salt increasing their lead to 7 rounds here on map 3. So some spam there onto Marky through the bottom of connector towards water. Still with all players alive here. Sonic changing that up though. Makes the peek into connector exits. CX down. Hate, meanwhile, making his way onto the B side. B essentially clear, at least for the moment. Being Hate, gonna have to be careful of that Heaven peek. 4-on-4 situation. Minute remaining here on the clock. Rizu. Nice peek there over into Water Tunnel. Will take care of Marky. George, a nice headshot there onto JT at the B side. Fang and OC left as the final players remaining for ES. Once again, OC going to get picked off there in Heaven, and Fang is going to go ahead and save his A1S, already rotating all the way back to the playground. Fang likely going to look for an exit here towards the B side. Triumph will indeed secure a second round for themselves. Looks like a pause has been taken by Extra Salt, likely deciding what to do with their low economy here. Live play resuming. Extra Salt deciding for 2 silenced M4s, 2 Desert Eagles. OC going to be on the scout here in round 11. CX does have that AWP here on the Triumph side. Let's see if he can capitalize. Hate already making his way past Monster into the B side, takes care of Marky at Barrels. Hate looking for more contact here, does find Sonic and Water, and the B side is indeed clear for Triumph. Rizu, good for another there in CT Halls. B Wills watching the flank there at connector. Nice little in-4 headshot onto OC. And once again, Extra Salt left with a single player on the save. That's going to be JT over in Playground. Triumph looking to get back into this one, grabbing 2 rounds in a row there. Extra Salt, not with too much cash to work with here. JT did retain that A1Ls, but the rest of ES can be on the full save here with USPs. JT already pushing up aggressively there near Party. Triumph, meanwhile, already making their way onto the B side again. Hate clearing Water. There's 3 ES members and Graffiti. Hate and George combine for 2. Sonic took care of Marky for them. Another spicy, friendly fire interaction on the night there. And once again, JT left as the final player for Extra Salt. He'll be saving this A1S up on bank stairs. And that'll be a 4th round secured for Triumph. Things looking a bit more doable now for Triumph. Triumph spreading out here again at the beginning of the round, although C4 is leaning towards the B side. The utility being used towards B on behalf of Triumph, but this is by no means a B commit yet. George will leave the C4 on the ground near B. Triumph continuing to let some time off the clock here. 45 seconds remaining. All 10 players in the server still alive. No major contact being made yet. I will note that no player on Extra Salt has head armor here, although they are on a full buy with 5 silenced and 4s. OC having to fall back a bit towards default after that Molotov gets planted. Marky gonna fall from short. But OC, good for 2 near Monster. Sonic backing him up for a third. CX and Hate still trying to make something happen here for Triumph. Hate down and short. It's only going to be CX remaining here. 10 seconds on the clock, and he's going to make the smarter decision and go ahead and save this. Looks like Extra Salt will not push through either of the tunnels here. CX will be able to save that AWP. Hate making his way up short. Triumph trying their luck at B again. George with the initial pick onto Marky, but Sonic coming up big from barrels takes out 2. Triumph still forcing their way onto the side. Rizu C4 in hand. He's on default. He might go for the plan here. He is. It's not a fake. Has been planted. It's still only Rizu and CX here with not the most ideal positioning. Triumph not able to hold off that initial water push from OC. OC good for the trade onto Rizu. Feng coming in off railing on default. That'll be a 10th round going in the way of Extra Salt.
Counter-terrorists win.
Getting things going here at water for Triumph. Marky down early. Feng already pushed up in connector, but not quite peeking down towards connector exit yet. Couple Triumph players did make it through into water via connector. Hate looking to lead the way into the site for Triumph once again. It's JT at barrels this time. He's able to take out Hate. CX there for the trade. Leaves us in a 3-on-3 scenario. Minute 8 on the clock. Triumph continuing to make their way onto the B site. Nice headshot from CX there. Sonic down at far wall. OC falling near graffiti to a nice shot there from Rizu with the AK-47. That's going to leave only Feng remaining here. CX does only have 18 HP, so this is fairly doable for Feng if he decide. Of course, it's actually over. It's actually the last round and a half. Feng with a big shot through the smoke towards water past default. CX down. And Feng, good for another there as he takes out Rizu right in front of Graffiti Wall. And they'll easily get the defuse, and Extra Salt will end the first half, leading 11-4. We'll be back in just a couple minutes here for the second half. Don't go anywhere.
But I don't know how to do this on my own anymore. Oh no, now it's my leave for the melancholy. Couldn't fill a hole inside me. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Now it's Xannies till I numb my psyche. Cocaine just to feel my heartbeat. Nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Sarah, I lost myself today.
Officially live here. Second half pistol round. Marky getting things going for Extra Salt there towards the B side as he rotates through connector. Marky good for a second rotating through connector. George on the push from long A though, finding 2 headshots. So Triumph still in the round here defensively, despite Fang making his way onto the A side for the plant. Sonic watching that flank it short. Nice one tap there from Sonic. What a shot. And that's going to leave only Hate remaining for Triumph. Sonic, good for another ridiculous USP shot there. And Extra Salt now leading 12-4. And Triumph not with a whole lot of opportunities remaining here on the deciding map. We'll see if they decide to buy anything. Oh, looks like Triumph will be going for the force buy here. 4 Desert Eagles and an MP9 in the hands of Hate on the CT side. Extra Salt spreading out a bit here. No major contact being made yet. Extra Salt did have to settle for a couple Galils outside of those 2 AKs JT on the MAC-10. So Triumph does have a pretty solid shot here at defending with these Deagles. But George taking a lot of damage from Marky though. What a toss into bathroom. JT continuing to lead Extra Salt up short. Nice shots from both Marky and OC there. Big Galil headshots coming in, and that might put a damper on Triumph's plans this round. Triumph still with 2 Desert Eagles and an MP9 to work with here. Continuing advance towards the A side. Rizu and Hate good for 2 on the stops though. Rizu does take quite a bit of damage, tagged down to 6 HP, but Sonic and the boys rotating down through connector with the C4. Extra Salt trying to get the bomb down here at the B side. Only 8 seconds on the clock. Hate looking to potentially stop the plant through the smoke grenade with the MP9. Not going to be able to do so. OC will get the plant, pulls the Galil out, checking CT Halls, and Graffiti not going to make any visual contact there yet. Rizu continuing to push past CT Halls towards side. OC going to take care of him with the Galil. B-Will's on the trade there. B-Will's good for another with the Galil. Brings it to a one-on-one scenario. B-Will's versus Sonic. Sonic only has 40 HP. B-Will's going to fake the defuse. Sonic falling back by Monster Tunnel and B-Will's making the peak. That's a 3K with the Galil, and Triumph is still in this one, ladies and gentlemen, securing a 5th round as we head further into the second half here. Whew, that defuse got pretty close there. I was almost getting a bit concerned there towards the end, but Triumph, as mentioned, still in this one. Let's see if they can close this lead a bit more here. Extra Salt sending 4 long A this round early. Make that 5. 5 Extra Salt players, 4 Glocks, 1 Deagle, making their way up long, led by OC with the Desert Eagle. Big 1D from OC, does get triggered out by George, but Extra Salt has a chance. JT picking up that Deagle. Can he potentially get another pick here at the A side? George did get tagged down at 16 HP. ES still with a lot of time to work with. They are indeed going to fall back. Extra Salt making their way up short. Still a 4-on-4 scenario here. Less than 40 seconds on the clock. It looks like this is going to be a late A commit from ES. Hey, keeping an eye on Bathroom from that flank angle, though. Able to find Sonic. George, good for 2 from the site with the A1S. And Markey left in no man's land here with a Glock at the beginning of Bathroom. Hey, gonna finish him off there. And Triumph slicing that lead to 6 rounds. Not out of this one yet. Nades being tossed by the defense here at Fountain. Fang will get tagged up by that HE down to 54. Not ideal for him. Salt continuing to let some time off the clock here. Contact about to be made at Bathroom. JT gonna come out on top of that one. Nice headshot onto George. Let's see if ES can work off of that. Looks like ES is actually rotating back through connector towards the B side via water. ES getting ever closer to be here via Monster Tunnel. Sonic leading the way. Contact about to be made right outside tunnel. Rizu down. B-Will's good for the trade +1. Fang ultimately trading back onto B-Will's. Hate rotating out from Barrels. Does take out Fang. He was there the whole time at Barrels. JT does hit the headshot, brings it to a 2v1 advantage. Extra Salt. 5 seconds on the clock. Bomb will be planted. It's all up to CX here for a potential 1v2. He might just choose to save the AWP. Looks like he will indeed be taking the safer route and saving that sniper. bomb will officially detonate, and that will indeed be a 13th round secured for Extra Salt. Triumph, not in the most ideal economic situation here. CX did save that AWP, but the remaining 4 players on Triumph, bit of a question mark here. They are able to squeeze out 2 more silenced M4s, 2 more FAMASs. FAMAI, if you will. JT and Sonic already moving up aggressively here in water, not fully peeking into the B side yet though. CX with the early AWP kill, Fang down at party. One-man advantage for Triumph still. Still quite a bit of time for Extra Salt to work with. Sonic making the peek out. Monster Tunnel does take out Rizu. B-Will's there for the trade. Hey, good for 1 more from Barrels, but OC and JT choking them out onto the side. Trade going out. OC brings it to a 1v1 after taking out George in the back of water, but ultimately that op from CX trading right back, and that'll be a 7th round going the way of Triumph. Can they rally back here? Extra Salt is essentially on a save this round. Fang upgrading to a P250, but the rest of the T is full saving with Glocks here. Marquis leading Extra Salt towards bathroom here. Contact being made by George. Very little damage there going out in bathroom. CX was able to make a pick over there near connector. George good for 2, looking for a 3rd, gets it. JT down. Rizu gonna finish off Fang and connector there, and a solid round from Triumph despite that being an eco. And Extra Salt, again, not in an ideal financial scenario here, but they're still going to squeeze out 5 rifles, 2 AKs, 3 Galils. Everyone on the T side with head armor here as well. Extra Salt already advancing towards water. This isn't a full decommit quite yet, but quite a bit of Molotovs and utility already being used here. Pick there from Sandbags, partially through the smoke. George down. B-Will's on the trade. 4-on-4 situation. Still a minute 10 for Extra Salt to work with here. They could fall back, or at least fake the fallback. Let's see what ES decides on here. ES holding their ground. Less than a minute on the round here. Markey weighing his options at connector. Pick watching as well. OC leading the way out Monster Tunnel. Rizu and B-Will is down. Nice Galil work there from OC. That's going to be only CX and Hate remaining now for Triumph. Let's see what they have in store defensively. Hate is able to take out JT as he makes his way onto default. But OC clearing out water, and that's going to leave only CX remaining here with an AWP. He's indeed going to be saving that, and this is a 14th round that's going to be going the way of Extra Salt, and Triumph is running out of time in this 3rd map. Officially detonating that 14 on the board for ES now. Triumph choosing not to take a timeout here. Triumph able to squeeze out the full buy. CX will retain that op from last round as mentioned. B-Wills and George on the A1S. Rizu and Hate on the MP9s here for the CT side. B-Wills coming up big early though, peeking into connector, marquee down. That was from the boost spot. And B-Wills coming up big from the boost again. Sonic found there at connector exit. Two-man advantage here for Triumph. Still quite a bit of time for Extra Salt to work with. OC, nice little pick there onto the A site. Extra Salt still with a pretty solid chance at taking A. Looks like some weapon switching occurring between the ES teammates here. Yes, tossing some utility into the A site. George get burned by that initial Molotov near truck. ES advancing onto the A side. OC good for one. JT backing him up for not just one, but a second kill there onto George behind truck. Rizu left is the only player remaining for Triumph. 1v1 scenario. JT will get the bomb down just barely there at truck. There was only 3 seconds left in the round before he planted, and JT with only 16 HP, he's holding that tight angle at bathroom exit, and it's going to pay off. What a play from JT there in the 1v1, and he brings Extra Salt to both map and series point here. Out water for Extra Salt, but B-Wills and Hate getting aggressive in water themselves, able to take out 2. That's a big play there from Triumph, making a statement that they're trying to prolong this map. JT leading the way onto the B side for Extra Salt, though. Good for 2. OC backing him up for a third. One-man advantage here for Extra Salt as they look to potentially close things out. George gonna be flanking around from Monster Tunnel. CX coming in from Sandbag. CX, nice headshot onto Markey there near water entrance. OC still in the side, gonna make the peek onto CX. Does convert on the trade. OC with only 4 HP, 1v1. OC versus George. George with a Desert Eagle in hand, 50 seconds on the clock. OC able to slide away. Very slippery of him to get into the A site, get the plant down. OC still with only 4 HP. Will it be enough? George making his way up connector. George advancing through short. George in bathrooms. Those footsteps are going to be heard by OC. George advancing towards stairs of sight. OC from long had the initial shot, but George just had too much health remaining. OC not able to finish him off. George will indeed get the defuse here. And this match is not over yet. Extra Salt on a half buy here, utilizing 4 Desert Eagles and AK-47 in the hands of JT. Extra Salt continuing to let some time off the clock, but they're already advancing up short. George about to make the peek from long, but JT taking him out with that AK. Extra Salt already making their way onto the A side. They should be able to get a plant here without too much further contest. CX peeking from bank does take some damage, but he's still up. CX making the peek onto long, takes out GT. Marquee there for the trade. Marquee keeping an eye on Dumpster. Extra Salt does still have the one-man advantage here. Fang good for another with the Desert Eagle towards Dumpster. Markey taking out one as well. A couple trades coming out from Triumph, but Sonic ultimately able to bring it home there with that final trade onto Rizu. And Extra Salt, after an extremely intense matchup there, will indeed bring things home. It certainly wasn't a guarantee early on in that series. Map 1 certainly could have went either way. Map 2 definitely could have gone either way, as we saw there with overtime. So Triumph did start things out really strong tonight, but they just weren't quite able to hold off the aggression and the protocols of Extra Salt there on Overpass. Regardless, though, great showing from both teams. That was an exciting series. Props to Extra Salt for playing so many matches within the past 24, 30 hours. I mean, they did that 7+ hour BF5, which, as I said, felt like a best of 9 yesterday at the DreamHack Grand Final. And then today they played GGPR before this series, which they were indeed victorious. And then here to take it another 3 maps and clinch the series. Extra Salt's the real deal. Well, it's been a fun one today, guys. Thanks for the support. You can follow me on Twitter as well, at Hamtara1H. Make sure you're following me here on Twitch as well. Click that follow button down there. And until next time, guys, have a great week.